What a heavy hitter this is gonna be. These two have truly redefined pro wrestling. Ricky Steamboat and Jimmy Superfly Snuka. They've added some extra flavor to what this sport is all about. From ground and pound to shooting for the stars and going high. These two can do it all. So I expect this to be nothing short of a classic from what these two are able to do. Their athleticism is second to none. Right off the bat, Snuka outpowering Steamboat with these shots to the chest. Face first into the top turnbuckle. And sent across the ring, but countered. And a massive back body drop. Down goes Snuka and follows it up. Scoop slam again. The pace is being picked up by Steamboat. Headlock takeover. It seemed that Snuka was going to try and take down Steamboat, but Steamboat had other ideas. Now going to work on keeping Snuka grounded to the mat. This is the strategy you want to have, especially in this case scenario. You're able to keep your opponent grounded and potentially lead to a pinfall, as you just saw there. However, what I will say, that was a counter in favor of Jimmy Snuka. We are, though, right back to Ricky Steamboat being back in control with this headlock. This is going to put a lot of pressure on the skull and lead to headaches. Block off the breathing, the oxygen that gets to the brain. It slows you down. You're exhausted. It also puts a lot of pressure on the back of the neck. You just got to look and see how the positioning is. Ricky Steamboat's doing a great job on where he has Jimmy Superfly Snuka. And I will say this. Snuka has been caught in this hold for quite a bit of time. And you see the size of the biceps of Ricky Steamboat. So that's an added extra pressure there. It's not cushion. That's just added muscle and power on how tight the grip of this headlock is, which is why Superfly is having such a hard time breaking free of this hold. And now finally breaks free, but gets knocked right down with a shoulder tackle. Oh, countered by Steamboat. I guess you can't stop the gravy train. Right down, both shoulders were on the mat, and the referee was quick to the cover, but not quite enough to put away Snuka. It's just not going to be that easy. It does take a lot more than just that if you're going to put away Jimmy Snuka. However, Ricky Steamboat has done a great job at going to work and targeting Jimmy Snuka from these headlocks, trying to wear down the pace. Keep the pace low and slow. And when you keep your opponent grounded, you take away their room of separation. Any offense that Snuka could get in is being slowed down. And the adrenaline, once the bell rings, there's like this shot of adrenaline that shoots through your veins. It's almost like a high, a euphoria, if you will. And being slowed down like this by your opponent, when you really just want to be on attack mode, it makes it really difficult. And then you have to not only fight your way out of it using all of your strength, then you have to get back on offense and be the one that puts the attack on your opponent. Kips right back up to his feet, though, is Snuka. Oh, there it is. Crossbody. And a 2 count. Snuka though, right back on the attack as he's perhaps found his footing. Now it's Snuka on the offense. Nobody home on that shoulder tackle. And Snuka, who goes over the top rope to the outside onto the floor. You got to wonder, how does Ricky Steamboat capitalize on this opportunity? Snuka trying to pull himself up to the apron. Tries to go up and over and sends Steamboat to the outside, but Steamboat held onto the tops. And Steamboat sends Snuka back into the ring. Steamboat, inverted atomic drop. Rather, a regular atomic drop, should I say. The glutes of Jimmy Snuka cannot be feeling good after that whatsoever, as Snuka tries to pull himself up so he can get back in the ring. The last thing you want in this situation is to be disqualified, especially since right off the bat, it's been such a hard-hitting match between these two athletes. Was looking for a splash off the top rope, but nobody home. Headlock takeover, high to low. The shoulder comes up. Look where we are, right back to what a large portion of this match has looked like, at least for Ricky Steamboat, that is, who has had a headlock on Jimmy Snuka for quite a decent amount since the bell has rang. And it has been off and on, but here we are back in this hold again. You're putting all the wear and tear on your opponent. You're putting all that pressure. And it builds up over time. It becomes exhaustion. How do you get up if you're Jimmy Snuka? There comes a point where the exhaustion builds up and it's just too much. Doing a great job of grounding up. Here we go. Snuka trying to work his way back up to his feet. And now that we're back up, both these men, and the breaks free. What a shot to the midsection. And ran through that punch. But it wasn't that he ran through. He got hit and all that momentum sent to the floor. Talk about getting the wind knocked out of you. I would need a trash can after that. However, fortunately for Ricky Steamboat, his core is very strong. Because I can almost guarantee the average person would have needed a trash can for something to come up, if you will. Ricky Steamboat. I feel like this is the most time that Ricky Steamboat has spent on the floor during this matchup. Largely to recover, largely to think about game plan. You have to be prepared when you go back in the ring. You cannot go back in the ring without any plan. That's just going in blind. And you just can't afford to do that. Not against Jimmy, not against anybody. And most certainly not against Jimmy Snuka. Jimmy Snuka, a worldwide talent. And the same can be said for Ricky Steamboat, which is why these two are such a perfect match for each other. We've already seen it that these two are truly a perfect match to go the distance with each other. And they are. They are hitting the biggest hits. They are outpowering and withstanding the other's best shots. Testament of willpower. A nice shot from Jimmy Snuka really catches Ricky Steamboat off his rocker. Steamboat truly rocked as Snuka tried to come up from behind. A nice slow and methodical pace by Snuka, but also able to bring it up when needed the most. Nice snapmare from Steamboat. And that slammed on the side of the head. Right back on the headlock. If it works, don't fix it. If it ain't broken, you never need to fix it. That is one of the biggest rules in life. And this has been a great strategy for Ricky Steamboat throughout this match. And he's not letting go. Obviously. Well, and I mean not letting go as in he is not moving on from the fact that this is working for him. Also, not letting go of the hold because it is truly effective in wearing down Jimmy Snuka right now. Snuka trying to stay with it. However, Ricky Steamboat putting a lot of pressure on this sleeper hold right now. From headlock to sleeper. This could be forced into submission for Jimmy Snuka. The referee watching it very closely to see if we're going to get there in submission zone. Trying to shift the weight is Snuka to push away from the sleeper back to a side headlock. The side headlock puts a different kind of pressure. However, with the hips up, it allows for more motion in the legs and an easier chance of breaking the hold to create some much needed separation. And Snuka finally does, but explodes out of the ropes is Steamboat. And once more with these shoulder tackles, picks up the pace and just collides. And both men crash and burn into each other and land on the floor on the opposite ends, on the opposite sides of the ring. A massive turning point for these two. I wonder who got the worst of that collision. I guess we'll find out on who's able to recover first. However, that only tells you so much. It also has a lot to do with willpower. Steamboat back into the ring. However, I will say Snuka not too far behind. Snuka tried to jump back into the ring, but with the damage done throughout this match, unable to maintain stability and agility at this point. That's the struggle when you get this deep into such a grueling matchup. I think Snuka was just yelling at the crowd. Jimmy Snuka. Oh, what a nasty headbutt. However, Steamboat was still on his feet, stumbling until he fell to the ground. Just a nasty headbutt. Perhaps one more. Oh, biting the face of Ricky Steamboat. Jimmy Snuka doesn't play clean, and he certainly doesn't play nice. Snuka has exposed the face of Ricky Steamboat, who has been busted open. And with the blood now coming down from Steamboat, as trying to open up the wound even more by biting right into the cut on the forehead. This is a great strategy. This could be the opening that Snuka needed. And with the blood, when it pours down your face, it gets into the eyes. And when it mixes with sweat, not only does it become a crimson mask, but it burns your eyes. And then it blurs your vision. That could be a detriment to the strategy of Ricky Steamboat. Nice shot by Snuka. Stunned is Steamboat. However, Steamboat doing a pretty good job of staying with it. Trying to keep himself up on his feet. But another headbutt by Snuka. You saw that almost like a miniature strut to the corner, realizing he has Steamboat right where he wants him, is Snuka. It could be all flight. All flight, no regret for Jimmy Snuka, who hammers away with nasty rights on Ricky Steamboat. And another shot. The ref trying to pull back Snuka because Steamboat was on the ropes. It's a rope break. It's that simple. Biting the forehead again, biting right back onto that cut on the head. Almost like he enjoys the taste of his enemy's blood. And shaking is Steamboat from the open wound. When you lose blood, it's not a good feeling. You can feel the air. You can feel the sweat that gets in to the cut, and it starts to burn. Your face starts to burn. And the more blood you lose, the exhaustion that builds up, you get tired. Your blood sugar goes down. And Jimmy Snuka pushed the referee out of the way so he could get right back on the attack. Steamboat trying to get right back on it, but it's not been the same for Steamboat since Snuka's been on the attack. Steamboat able to get out of the way, though. This could be the opening that Steamboat has needed. Gonna go up high. This is where you risk it all. High risk, high reward. Welcome to the danger zone. Trying to fight Snuka off is Steamboat. It'll be a hard landing if Steamboat knocks Snuka off, and he does! Snuka has been dropped off the top. Gonna go high. And a splash. He got all of it. However, Jimmy Snuka stays alive. He is not out yet. There is still fight left in Snuka. It's going to take a lot more. Snuka, who's now down to one knee. Oh, what a nice shot by Snuka, completely stopping Steamboat, and falls right to the mat. Perhaps now it's time for Jimmy Snuka to make the climb and go take flight. From the top, thinking a headbutt. Ricky Steamboat able to get out of harm's way. Take your shot, take your moment. Ricky Steamboat with his battle cry. He is ready to risk it all, as he's got a second feast of fury, and it's coming Jimmy Snuka's way. What is Steamboat thinking? No. Pile driver. He got all of that one. Great ring awareness, though, by Snuka, able to find his foot on the bottom rope. Snapmare by Steamboat, who just clubs away at the chest and the face. And now on top of Snuka is Steamboat as he just pummels away at Snuka. Just brutality right now. And trading back and forth as Snuka tried to fight back up to his feet. And he's back up. But right now, it's all Steamboat. The fury when you lose some blood, it almost brings out a whole new side of you, a new side of savagery. You'd think you'd bring out the savagery of your opponent, but when you realize you're at risk, when you lose blood, you realize you got to take it all home. And picking up Steamboat picking up Snuka Steamboat stomping away, and now Steamboat pushing back the ref. He is not stopping. He doesn't want to stop. And I said savagery a second ago. This is savagery. The ref's just trying to pull him off and just fully shoves the ref. And just hit the ref. That wasn't wise. And the match is being called off. However, Steamboat isn't done. There's the bell. There it is. You saw the ref make the signal, but now the bell has officially sounded. And Ricky Steamboat is just not done laying waste to Jimmy Snuka. Everybody here at All Japan Pro Wrestling trying to stop Steamboat and get him away from Snuka. Snuka is obviously seriously hurt. And Steamboat doesn't want to let go. He doesn't want to stop fighting. Who's going to stop this? Who is going to pull these two apart? Steamboat holding on like his life depends on it. You saw the grip he had, and now just a clubbing blow and still not done. Chops one of the security. I'd hate to be that security guard. Completely up. Snuck on the floor now. The ref has warned Steamboat. Steamboat may have not won the match, but Steamboat got his message sent. That was a disqualification for Ricky Steamboat. And a victory for Jimmy Snuka. Steamboat got the message across. Steamboat raised his hands as if he knew he did something. And one little last cheap shot. Maybe not last. He's not done. Still attacking Jimmy Snuka on the outside. However, Jimmy Snuka finally gets a little bit of a fight here. Gives a little bit of a fight for Ricky Steamboat. This has turned into an all-out brawl on the outside now. Absolutely devastating. Is that a table? And just clubs it on the skull of Ricky Steamboat. Jimmy Snuka is unhinged now, infuriated by how the match ended due to Ricky Steamboat letting his emotions get the best of him and just wanting to continue to inflict damage. I mean, the match has been over for a few minutes at this point. However, it just feels like there's not enough security to stop this thing. They're just not done. No matter how many times they ring this bell, these two do not care at all. I think they're finally going to be separated. Finally have enough security. Maybe not. Steamboat just yelling at Snuka. He wants to fight. Steamboat is not done yet. Steamboat is still ready to go. Well, however, despite the fact that this match ended in complete chaos, it was one heck of a brutal, heavy-hitting match. A true display of offense, agility, high impact. They put it all out on the line. What a display by both men. However, in the end, Ricky Steamboat got himself disqualified and let his emotions get the best of him, allowing Jimmy Snuka to get the win.